Hey everybody, it's James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
And this is the Movie Pals podcast number 174. We are one away from the big 175.
Woo woo.
In today's episode, we'll be giving you an update on what we've been watching, followed by a full review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So let's get into what we're watching.
Hey, what you watching?
All right, so what have we been watching? We're just bringing it back for another week here. Marco, let's start with you, man. What have you been watching?
I have actually been watching movies, which is, I know, weird. We're the movie pals, and
what?
We talk a lot. We talk TV shows here too.
Say what?
I know, say swear. But recently I watched the 2023, technically 2024. It's one of those indie films that had a short premiere last year and then had a worldwide release in 2024 called Problemista. And it's Salvadoran American writer and comedian Julio Torres, who's actually written for Saturday Night Live and has also written some stuff for HBO. But it's his directorial debut, and it's basically about a young Salvadoran man named Alejandro, who has come to the United States with a dream to work for Hasbro as a toy maker. Okay. But apparently gets turned down and gets hired by an art critic that is trying to recover and sell paintings from her husband, who has also been cryogenically frozen. I know, that's a weird plot. It's a weird plot, I know. But
I remember seeing the trailer for this, and it looked weird. Because if I recall, this movie was supposed to come out last year in August, but it was delayed because of writer's strike. So that's why I think it...
Right.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a trailer for this a while ago.
Yeah, it was released finally March 1st of 2024 here in the States worldwide. And I remember it was playing at the Alamo Drafthouse. You can only see it right now, either VOD on Amazon, which is where I saw it, or you can also see it right now in Oakland at one of their local theaters. I actually ended up buying the movie because I thought I was renting it, hit the wrong option, and lo and behold, I own it in 4K on Amazon. But you know what? Happy to support. And it kind of adds to the charm of the movie. It's very zany and surreal. It's a lot of that surreal comedy. It reminds me a lot of The Science of Sleep in a weird way. Alejandro's imagination is very vivid, and when he imagines a situation like getting turned down from a job or something, like it plays out in his mind, and you could see it play out with all these like goofy costumes and stuff, just like The Science of Sleep. It's charming. It gets like real at some points because it goes over like the crazy rules of like immigration here in the States and stuff, and what people have to go through, and him being backed against the wall and the things that he has to do in order to stay afloat. Meanwhile, communicating with his mother back in El Salvador. I just find it kind of relatable with like family members that I know that have been through that and have gone through the system and have been like given the runaround and having to take on odd jobs and stuff in order to make ends meet and stuff. So I found that very relatable, but at the same time, like it has a lot of things that I think is open for anybody to relate to, especially like getting turned down from jobs and, you know, having to do in between jobs and all that. I think if you are a fan of indie films or a fan of like zany comedies like that, or if you're a fan of like surrealistic comedy, then I'd say this is probably for you. It's not that long. It's an hour and 45 minutes. Again, you can rent it on Amazon or purchase it like I did. It's primarily in English, but there are some Spanish scenes on there with subtitles. Don't worry, James. You'll understand what they say. Though, I mean, there are some scenes where probably James would probably say, I need subtitles there. But overall, I think it's a very entertaining film, man. And I would, again, highly recommend it if you're a fan of the types of films that I just mentioned, or if you're curious enough yourself, go ahead and check it out.
I thought this movie was about like people disappearing if they didn't have a job or something. I guess I mixed it up. I was looking at trailers like, was that a part of it, or is that like not part of it?
That's not part of it at all. It's got a weird trailer that
yeah, okay, because I remember the trailer. It's funny because like it was delayed because of the writer's strike, but it still bombed overall. So it's like should have just released it last year, man.
Yeah, totally, man. It's it's what happens. But
yeah,
hey, check it out if you're curious. I think Tilda Swinton does a really good job at playing this zany, wacky art critic. At times she kind of gets annoying, or the character, but
so all her characters. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. Oh man. Aside from that, I also ended up seeing the 2023 film The Iron Claw.
Nice, you watched it.
Yeah. Another one that's been mentioned here. Again, these guys convinced me to watch it. Not that they really had to. I've been wanting to watch this one, and I'm sad I didn't get to, and didn't get to really like say anything about it. But man, what a
movie!
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into it because we've already discussed it here. But I'm just gonna say I really fucking enjoyed it. It's recently streaming on HBO Max right now, so if you have an account, go ahead and check it out. I highly recommend this fucking movie. Although I do suggest, like these guys mentioned, probably have something happy to watch or something funny to watch after it, because it is very tragic and depressing to see, what happens to this family and seeing what the Von Erich brothers go through and the tragedies they have to face. And I know it was mentioned here that these guys said there was one other brother that was supposed to be, part of the plot line they cut out. I wholeheartedly agree that.
Well, they didn't technically cut him. Well, they cut him out into a point. They combined two of the brothers into one.
Yeah, they combined them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, Zac Efron was definitely fucking robbed, dude. That's an Oscar-worthy performance, dude. Like,
I agree.
He was fucking fantastic. I mean, for one, the physical transformation in itself, like, yeah, okay, he bulked up, but he looks completely different. Like, it does not look like him. He looks like a totally different person. And the fact that he's able to act out like a gentle giant, this strong guy with, emotions and feelings. And man, when he's balling, I was fucking balling, obviously, y'all know. There's one scene specific. I know these guys know exactly which one it is, like towards the end, where I'm just like, fuck, dude. It's this conversation he has with his family and his young family. I'll just say that. And man, it's such a powerful scene to end on, and it's just fucking incredible. Again, just for the story alone, check it out. It's definitely gonna make you a little teary-eyed, dust in the room type feeling, but highly recommend it. Such a great movie. Last thing I'll mention that I've been watching is I've finished the show Shogun on FX. It's also streaming on Hulu if you have a subscription. It actually streams side by side with the season. Not that it matters because it's a limited series, so it's only going to be one season. But
apparently they're doing a second season, guys.
Yeah, they just announced it, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. Because I guess the book. I mean, they covered everything for the book in that one season. So that's news to me. That's wild.
Disney saw that money. They're like money.
They're like, let's make shit up. Let's pull a Game of Thrones and go off script. Oh man, that's that's bad. But anyway, it stars Hiroyuki Sanada as Yoshi Tanaga, and that this dude's been known to be in a lot of different movies. Quite a good actor, and he takes the lead role in this as a leader in Japan, in feudal Japan, where they're still living the samurai caste, and they're dividing up the land and who's going to take charge of what. And he basically is accused of like a conspiracy of trying to take power and stuff. And so the leaders that be kind of try to like set him up and get rid of him, so to speak, but they can't do it illegally. They have to do it within their laws. And essentially it starts off this huge, like sort of Cold War between these guys and like these factions versus him. And he's trying to gather up allies and support from like other feudal leaders and samurais, and trying to get them like, hey, you got to get my back, because otherwise these guys are going to try to find a way to legally execute me or force me to commit seppuku, because this is in a time where the samurais are all fully about honor, and if you break that honor, then you got to submit seppuku. Very action-packed in some parts. I'd say it's more story-driven. A lot of it is about like these characters and their plans and their allegiances. It's sort of in a way kind of like a Game of Thrones type show, but taking place in feudal Japan. It's very violent, very bloody. They don't hold back. You see people get decapitated, limbs, get cut off when there is action. But the story keeps you really compelled to watch the show. I'm glad that I waited a few episodes so I could watch them back to back, because there are some episodes that end, kind of like with not really cliffhangers, but just wanting you to watch more. highly recommend it if you're into like types shows that deal with ancient history or, you know, especially feudal Japan. Definitely check it out. I would say if you're kind of queasy on seeing limbs fly or a lot of blood, then it's probably not for you. But I mean, if you like shows like Game of Thrones, then again, this is probably for you.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard good things. I know. I want to say all you guys have watched it except me, right? No, not you, Nabil.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's super good. It's definitely a must watch in my opinion. Especially like Marco said, if you like the themes that he set out there.
Nabil, what have you been watching?
Well, as always, I've had an eclectic showing of films and TV shows that I've been going through.
Oh, have you?
We're all excited about it. I know.
Let me put my nightcap on.
So I recently watched a pair of documentaries on Apple TV called Boy State and Girl State. Two different films. Boy State was set in 2020, and Girl State is 2024, and it's about this school of sorts that they do. They get the 17-year-old boys and also the 17-year-old girls. The Boy State is set in Texas, so these boys are in this community where they actually build a representative government from the ground up.
Whew.
And it's the same thing in the Girl State. It's a updated version in 2024 in Missouri, where there's these girls basically, again, building up a government from ground up, and they focus more specifically on organizing a Supreme Court. The reason I bring this up is what's interesting is the idea of what these kids are going through, that they think what democracy should be, and then the roles that each of them are playing to get to whatever position they're trying to hold. Some of them are trying to hold higher office, like as a president. Somebody's trying to be like a congressional whip. Somebody's trying to be on the Supreme Court. And so you get to see the politics play at such a young age. It's very cool to see the way these kids work together to build this government and what they do to build cliques and try to petition for votes and get themselves out there. But what's even more interesting is watching these two documentaries happening apart from each other, one in the Boy State in 2020, again in the Girl State in 2024, and the difference between how much money and investment and organization the boys have to the investments that the girls get to go through this process. And to the extent where the boys have their own little campus and they're secluded from everybody and they can run this representative government the way they want to, and the girls' state is co-ed with a separate boys one that's happening on the same campus that they're in Missouri. So there's an obvious disparity around there too. So it was an interesting premise, I thought, just to see kids trying to build up on their beliefs of what democracy is and how they work together, and also trying to see the disparity between both of them. So that's Boy State and Girl State, both on Apple TV. I also started watching a show, I think I've talked about it before here, called Somebody Feed Phil. That's on Netflix.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, this is a show from Phil Rosenthal, who created the show Everybody Loves Raymond. He also is a writer there, and he travels around the world sampling foods and has a bunch of jokes with different comedians and actors that he meets up over there. And this new season, he's going to a lot of different places, like in DC, Kyoto, Mumbai, and Dubai. And this is a show that I really was kind of into during the pandemic, where there was a lot of joy happening when he'd go over to a different place and just enjoy the comforts of the food, of the culture. If you guys ever watched the Anthony Bourdain show, I think it's No Reservations or Unknown Parts, any one of those, where he goes through the different places and he learns a lot more about the culture and gets a little bit political on what he's learning about. This show I like even more because Phil goes in and he's not learning about the culture in the same way or goes into the politics. He's really just appreciating the food for the area that he's in and what the different restaurants that represent over there bring in the cultural aspect of it. And you can see the joy and everything he's trying to insert that and portray that in the show for the audience to go into. So it's not just about, this, food fetish of them cooking something and you really just getting into what's showing on the screen, but more just the pure enjoyment of the company, the people he's interacting with, and then the people behind the food itself, and then why it's so good on top of that. So it's really like lighthearted, and I really kind of enjoy those shows where you do get a bit of levity, where you can experience the culture without feeling like you have to be a food snob or get really too far into the politics of an area. So that's another show. I don't know if you guys ended up watching that yet, but I do recommend if you're interested in something that's a bit lighthearted, but still like kind of those food documentaries. That he's really funny too. He's always throwing out jokes. And the guests that he has come on are always really funny too. So they have a good riff between them, and he always finds a way to make any situation he's in to kind of elevate it a little bit, just to bring it even more humor to it, as while also educating you on the area of the food.
Is it still like current? Like I know it's several seasons, right? Or is it like done or
season that just came out just last month, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. And that's what I've been watching, James.
Cool. You got some solid ones there.
Always eclectic. And I told you, man, trying something different.
Someone's got to fill in for the over 60 crowd here. So, I mean, I am glad you are nailing it for those guys to watch something.
Flavor.
Or something to turn on if you want to fall asleep. I mean, yeah. No, I think I've actually seen some of those Somebody Feed Phil, or my parents have watched it. Possibly because they like those kind of shows where they go around and they try new foods and different cultures, blah blah. So
yeah, but he's also really funny too. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, and they probably would actually like that too. I have to let Mom know about that one. Cool, Mikey. What about you?
So I've been watching a lot of the video on demand movies lately. Been getting kind of tired of watching streaming stuff, so I try to rent a few movies. So my first one here is Miller's Girl. It is Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega. And Jenna Ortega plays a student that is very good at writing. And she hears that Martin Freeman is a good teacher. So she signs up for his class. And he is very impressed by what he sees in her material. And he kind of gives her a little bit of special treatment. Gives her some insights into what some of these writing assignments will be in the future to kind of progress her a little faster. And then obviously they spend a little bit of alone time, and it maybe progresses a little bit differently than student-teacher relationships go. I don't want to give too much away because it is kind of a thriller, kind of a mystery almost a little bit. And I thought this movie really started off really well. A little bit into the middle of the movie, it kind of progresses a little differently, kind of shows a little bit more of side characters and side stories. And I think the movie kind of gets lost a little bit in that. The scenes with Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega, they're fantastic. The two do well together. They both do their roles pretty well. And the charisma they have with each other and they're inside the scenes they're in together are just really well done. I just wish that the story had progressed a little bit differently. I didn't like any of the side characters, any of the side plots that they kind of brought up. And since this is a kind of a new movie, I'll kind of just leave it there. But I didn't really like this one as much as I thought I would. It seemed like a really intelligent writing. I was expecting it to be that way. And it was, but it kind of got a little convoluted in the middle there. So not the best movie, but also not the worst. I didn't not enjoy it. So
it leaned in a bit to the salaciousness of the premise then, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
I
haven't heard too many good things about this one. That hit VOD pretty quick. Yeah.
After the trailer, I didn't hear much about it.
The premise looked interesting to me because it seemed different than some of the other films that fall into this trope. But yeah, from hearing what you're saying, it seems like it starts off strong, but then goes right into it anyway. So maybe not as unique as I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was going to have a point of view, a stand, but then the side stories kind of, I don't know, give some of the characters an out, I'll say, I guess. So it's like, well, you were making a movie with the stand, and I thought that's where you were going. I would actually like it if you were doing that, but then you give characters outs and options of why they're doing the things they're doing. And I didn't really like that part of it. So
okay.
Another VOD. I buy all these on Vudu, or I rent them on Vudu. So I don't know. They're probably elsewhere as well. But I rented Arcadian, which is a Nicolas Cage movie. It's a pretty basic movie. And the premise is him and his two sons are trying to survive I don't know, I guess it's an apocalypse in some kind of way, but they're on a remote farmhouse. So they're out from like the boonies. And at nighttime, there are creatures that appear and they're deadly. I don't want to speak too much about the creatures because that's kind of a good point of the movie here. But one of his sons goes out for a day to kind of gather. They do trips out to like find food and, you know, whatever they need to do to like last in this farmhouse. And one of his sons does not make it back before lockup. So he has to adventure out to find his son and see what he can do to kind of bring him back home. And that's kind of the premise of the movie here. And as I was saying before, the creatures are really interesting. I'm not going to speak too much about like what they are or anything like that, because the movie keeps them pretty hidden from you pretty much the whole movie. You get kind of slight glimpse of them every now and then, but they're really interesting once you do see them and kind of see what the movie is and what they are. But it's just a simple movie. There's not much to it. There's only, you know, a few people in the movie. They're just trying to survive. That's literally it. There is another community that they intertwine with a little bit there. The only downfall I have for this movie is that some of the scenes were really, really dark. I was in a pitch black room watching this dark movie, which I expected some scenes to be dark because it's at nighttime, but I literally could not see what's happening. And if I can't see in a pitch black room, if anybody's watching in a lit room, there's no way they're going to see anything in these scenes here. So beyond that, the movie, like I said, is basic, but you know, Nicolas Cage.
Is it a horror? Is it considered horror? Is it more like a mystery?
Yeah, no, it's a horror movie.
Okay.
There's not a lot to it, really. There's really not a lot of like scenes and things that happen, but what they do pull off is it's good. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Better than I thought it was. I wasn't expecting too much going into it. I saw the trailer. It looked decent. So I decided, hey, why not? And I was surprised. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I've never seen the trailer for that one. Might be up my alley one day.
I would say wait for streaming because, like I said, it doesn't blow your socks off or anything like that. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be hitting a streaming service at some point.
Yeah.
Lastly, I watched a new Apple Plus show, Dark Matter. It's Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly. And basically, a man is abducted into an alternate reality, a version of himself in a different place. So he's a teacher. He does physics, and he's talking about alternate realities and how we all exist in different places. And basically, he swaps places with one of the other people, and he is trying to figure out what he is, where he's at, what he needs to do to get back home to his family. And on the other side of things, you're also seeing what the person he swapped with is doing at his reality. There's only 2 episodes right now. It's a Wednesday release. So they dropped the 2 episodes last week, just started up. I was really into this movie or this show from the start. The actors they do a good job. Everything is kind of explained in a way which makes sense, even though it's kind of a weird topic. And even though it kind of sucked me in, the second episode, it blew my mind. It was like, I wasn't expecting things that happened. So even though I was already into the movie, or into the show, and I already really wanted to watch more episodes, the events of the second episode were shocking and really wanted me to watch even more episodes. So I will be happy to watch the next episode tomorrow for us. So there's not much to talk about because there's really only 2 episodes too. And again, it is a brand new show, so I don't want to spoil anything else here, but it's really well done. And I think I'm going to like the rest of the season here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of advertising on it on the Apple TV.
It sounds really interesting. Just how you described it, I was like, I'll probably check this out. Yeah.
Nice.
How about you, James? What have you been watching?
Oh, okay. So I've been kind of light on stuff lately, guys, because I've been watching TV shows again. Opposite of Marco, I guess. I've been jumping into the TV shows now. But one movie I did catch with you in the theaters, Mikey, we watched The Fall Guy, which is the new Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt. Kind of a rom-com, I guess. Not really. I don't know.
Action
is it
rom-com?
Action, pretty much, maybe.
Yeah, it's an action rom-com. I got elements of all.
It's based on a show from the 80s that I had no idea about, apparently. But it's about Ryan Gosling is an ex stuntman, but he's coming out of like an injury. And Emily Blunt's a director of a movie, but there's something going on with the star of the film, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, where he's just suddenly missing. And it's basically Ryan Gosling's character's name is Colt Seavers. He's trying to uncover what happened to the actor, and then there's a plot going on with what's actually going on with the production of the film and the involvement of the character from Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's a huge movie star. His name is Tom Ryder, but it leads into a lot of action sequences, cool stunts. It's actually, I'll say this much: the movie's filmed really well. It has really good action sequences. Obviously, it's a movie that's been promoting all the stunts and everything going on. There's a good mix of comedy in it too. I think it's just because Ryan Gosling is so incredibly likable. It's just one of those things where I feel like every movie he's in, he just has that star presence, which is cool. And he has a really good chemistry with Emily Blunt too. So it didn't do well though. Apparently, I don't know if Nabil, did you catch this?
No, I tried to, but it just timing didn't work out.
Gotcha. I think you would like this movie too. By the way, it's definitely something you and your wife can probably see together and enjoy. But it has, like I said, there's cool moments. I think the issue with the film is that the pacing is a little off by the end. I think they kind of dropped the ball in the last act of the film. But if you're looking for something that is pretty lighthearted, has pretty funny moments, and it has Ryan Gosling in it, this would be the movie for you. So,
yeah, that's too bad it didn't do well. There's a lot of press for it too, so I was hoping it was
going to. Which is crazy, right? They really advertised this one a lot. They did all these junkets and all these interviews and these stunts happening at these events, and it just didn't do well.
That too. That they were doing like these stunts at all the premieres and stuff. Yeah,
they're promoting the hell out of it too. So that kind of blew my mind, but. It's the same director that did Bullet Train, so it's kind of in the range of that. So if you liked Bullet Train, I would say this is right up its alley. Less gory. It's not rated R like Bullet Train was, PG-13. So I even think kids could probably watch this and probably think it's pretty funny too. And like I said, the action is actually really well done. There's a couple scenes that I actually really liked. So
very impressive stunt work too in some of those action scenes. I think,
which is funny because a lot of this, they show you during the credits like the actual stunt happening. There's a few times I actually thought the stunts were not real. For instance, I even told Mikey. Then you see him doing it. I'm like, wait a minute, that was real? Like, holy crap! Like, I didn't think, because most of the times people film stuff now and they'll green screen it out or they'll add some kind of a after effect. But a lot of they try to do a lot of them practically, which is pretty good tip of the hat to them. So yeah, I would say a worthwhile movie in the theaters too. So that's where we saw it. So. I recently got Disney Plus back after 6 months, so I just want to let you guys know that too. Yeah, welcome back.
He's really back now.
I caught up on What If Season 2. I don't know if I ever mentioned Season 1. I didn't like it. Season 2 is kind of more the same, unfortunately. It's just, I don't know, something about it. Well, I guess it was cool because I got to binge it now. I would have hated waiting.
Yeah.
What these came out, I think they came out one a day or something for this one, though, specifically, right?
They did. Yeah, this one was once a day. But it wasn't so bad, though.
You could have technically binged it, I guess, but I guess the episodes that I really did like, if you guys don't know, this is like alternative takes on stories in the Marvel Universe, and technically they're canon still because the multiverse and blah, blah, blah. Episode 2, the one where it's what if Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes, I actually thought that one was pretty well done. That's one where instead of Peter Quill comes back and he's being he fights the Avengers back in 1988. So you have like a Howard Stark and Peggy Carter form a team, and they I thought that one was actually pretty enjoyable for the most part. There's also throughout this season they have a plot line with Peggy Carter. She's kind of the main character of this season, in my opinion, where she is continuing on this kind of multiverse quest. I actually thought it wasn't bad, by the way. There's 2 or 3 episodes, especially that she's in. Episode 5, she fights the Hydra Stomper, which is basically if Captain America in this timeline, he didn't get the powers, she got the powers, and he's in a suit and he comes back. It's like a mix of the Black Widow movie, slightly in it too. That was
the Winter Soldier too.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. And then by the end of it all, they have something where Strange Supreme shows up, and it's kind of a twist on like how the first season ended, but then what if he's still trying to go after and find his lost love? And I don't know. For the most part, I don't think you have to go out of your way to watch these. This has just been on my list because I have a list of movies and shows that are on Hulu / Disney Plus that I was like, whenever I get it, little did I know it'd be half a year later. I'll catch up on. So this is the first one on the list. So yeah, I don't know if you
I
guys
thought it was pretty cool, man.
too.
I think I'm just like one episode away from finishing season 2, but some of the stories that they fucking released in this were a lot better than the shit that they've been releasing, dude. Like everything, like
I think it's about the same in my
that show.
It's about the same for me for these.
Yeah.
I like the race car one with Tony Stark and
The race car one. He goes to the
two Hector.
Oh
Tree.
yeah. I know. Cool. Yeah, the Grandmaster one. Yeah, it was different. Like I said, it passed the time for me. It wasn't something I watch these while I'm like at the gym, you know, on the treadmill, and it's just like okay. But for the most part, I will never watch these again. So it's one of those one and dones for me. So
yeah, that's true.
I also though started X-Men 97 because you guys told me to go watch X-Men 97. So I am 4 episodes into that right now. I'm really enjoying those. I didn't really like I brought up before. I never really watched the original shows. I watched a couple recaps on YouTube. I think that's good enough because I think the animation is really fucking rough on those original ones. So that's probably an understatement
of the time. Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. I'm 4 episodes in, like I said. So I know the season finale is this week, but they're going to have another season next year. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying that one, at least out of the Marvel properties. I'll say that much. And Nabil, you just started it, right?
Yeah, I'm all caught up on this too, and it's the next episode you watch, episode 5, is like is a changer for it.
You might have if people hadn't spoiled it for me a month and a half ago, so I already know what happens.
No, I'm sorry, man.
It's fine. But yeah, I really, like I said, I don't care.
The animation is what they did with this. I was kind of hesitant on saying, oh, did they kind of keep these as the old style? But it all works really well, and the storytelling is pretty strong. And you're not focused a lot on the characters we've been used to in the movies, like just watching Wolverine or just watching, you know, even Jean Grey to some extent. And over here, it's a good mix. You get to spend a lot of time with some of the characters you didn't get to get a lot of exposure to in the movie. So I think it's a good come to form here.
Yeah, they're continuing that from the original show too, because they used to do that too, where they did episodes where they focused on like, you know, 1 or 2 characters that's not like Wolverine or some of the main characters, which is cool. It does a good job at bridging the old show with this new one, which is technically like season 6, I guess.
Yeah, it works for me though. As someone that has no connection to the previous ones, for the most part. I mean, I had like a few toys back in the day, but just bought random shit, you know. Just the 90s. I don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Just one toy. He just had the one.
No, I swear I had like a Gambit one. I had their ship. I had the Wolverine that had like
Gambit. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like a video.
Yeah, good one.
But yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with your guys' opinions on it. From what you're telling me, I'm actually really enjoying that one too. So I also, like I told you guys I would last time, I finished Roadhouse 2024. I don't need to get into what it's about because there's not much of a plot to begin with. But yeah, I mean it was okay. It was enjoyable. The use of CG was a little fucking over the top for me. I just, like you said, Nabil, it never gets better. I was like,
good for what it is.
Yeah, which is cool, and I enjoyed it. I thought, Conor McGregor is so fucking over the top, but I actually liked him in this movie. Yeah. He's just so fucking, dude. It's so I can see where all the memes came from for the last couple months. So he's literally just smiling at times. I'm like, I don't even know if they told him to do that. He's just fucking smiling like a fucking psychopath. But
they just went with it.
Yeah, they were like, well, we told him already 4 times not to do it, but no one's going to tell him again, so we're good. So it was cool. I still think I prefer probably the original over this one, but you know, it's completely different movies almost in a way. Like this is literally just, they could have named this something else and it would have been a totally different movie. You would never connected it, like if it wasn't called The Roadhouse or some shit, the fucking bar, right? So but for the most part,
yeah.
And now they're making a sequel. They just announced it today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jake Gyllenhaal's coming back, so I guess we're getting more of Dalton here, right? So cool.
Keep those abs strong, man. I'm all about it.
He'll be fine. He looks like he'll be fine. It's just, I actually even thought there was some pretty funny moments in it, but it was just okay. And like you guys said, you don't need to rush out and see it. I think this came out in March, so took me like 2 months to watch it. But I mean, hey, I knocked it out. I told you guys. I was like, you know what? I have to watch it. I told them I would. And I'm going to make one last brief mention here. Mikey, me, and Marco, and a few others went and saw the re-released 25th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. I'm not going to... If you've never seen it, the plot... No, I'm kidding. So, basically, yeah, it was great. I've seen this before in theaters, obviously, when it first came out. I saw it when it was re-released in 3D, so... And then saw it again. So, it was a great time re-watching this one. I've always been a big fan of this movie, so it was just nice. So...
Because you said that, it's also just, might as well say today, that it's George Lucas's birthday. So happy birthday, George.
Oh, yeah. Big 8-0.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
you see,
definitely.
the thing is, when you don't have the Ewoks, you gotta, insert Jar Jar Binks in there.
So Jar Jar's
Misa Sir,
he's-
and the Nosa Sir, and
It's actually Goongan, but they wouldn't listen to me. He's a Goongan. It's funnier.
Trying to
See,
tell him
Goongan.
so then the
But yeah,
Darth
no,
Maul-
fuck it. It's the Marco and I can quote probably the whole fucking movie. I think
Yup.
I was saying stuff at one point. And Janelli was literally like, "Okay, Rick, I got it," and I was like,
She's like, we get it. You've seen the film. All right,
was
I
like,
understand.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was-
God.
It was my son Xander's first time seeing it in theaters. We've seen all of them
that's
obviously
great.
here at home, but he enjoyed it. His jaw just dropped whenever Darth Maul was on scene and the big epic lightsaber scene at the end. Like he was just not moving, just staring at this battle. And I told him that's what a real lightsaber fight looks like, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry, he hasn't still figured that out. I don't know whether. I don't know. I know one else had a sword fight.
Yeah.
I remember when the special editions that came out in, was it 97 or something? And it was the first time I got to see them in the Star Wars in the theater. And the excitement I had after watching him on VHS for so long and actually seeing it in theaters was such a big deal to me. So I can only imagine for like these kids, like your sons and
And he's like the
able to-
perfect age for this too, man.
seeing this for the
Yeah.
first time at this age must have been an experience because that's about the same age that I saw these in theaters.
That's
The original
And that's why, that's why it hit different because he was laughing at the stuff that I used to roll my eyes on when I first saw it in theaters, and I was like, oh, that's what it was made for. And I enjoyed it a lot more. And truthfully, I was laughing now because I was like, oh, I get it now. I get it.
I think I was like 10 when this came out. 10 or 11. No, I was 10. So yeah, it was. This is the first Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. I never saw the
Nice.
97 special editions in theaters because my parents weren't big like sci-fi people, so there was no way they were going to take me to go see a sci-fi film when I was fucking 8 or 9 years old, I guess, or whatever. But the only
That
one
makes
I've
sense.
not yet seen in theaters is A New Hope. That's the only one. So eventually it'll happen. So, all right, let's get in now to our main review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Son, your father, he waits.
Much to learn, much to teach. There are dangers beyond our village. What a wonderful
Help your father!
So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in at a 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Synopsis is many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. This is directed by Wes Ball, who surprisingly the only real movies he's ever directed are the Maze Runner trilogy from 2014 to 2018. His next upcoming film that I wanted to mention, he is doing The Legend of Zelda. This is written by Josh Friedman, who wrote War of the Worlds in 2005, Black Dahlia in 2006, Terminator Dark Fate in 2019, and most recently, Avatar: The Way of Water, 2022. This movie's been just released last Friday on May 10th, 2024, starring Owen Teague as Noah, Freya Allen as May, Kevin Durant as Proximus Caesar, Peter Raikin as Raka, William H. Macy as Trevethan, Lydia Peckham as Suna, Travis Jeffrey as Anaya, Sarah Wiseman as Dar, Neil Sandilands as Koro, and Ika Darville as Silva. So I do want to start real quick off the bat here. Just the previous trilogy. Obviously, it's still in the same timeline as this. We're looking at Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Start with you, Nabil. I know this is their first time watching War for the Planet of the Apes, strangely enough. I had no idea you'd never seen this before.
Yeah, I never made it to finishing that last part of the Caesar trilogy.
That's crazy. I got to ask then, start with you. What did you overall, I know you rewatched them all in a new watch for War. What did you think overall?
It was a really good trilogy. I forgot how entertaining these films were and how it's hard. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about these are CG apes and thinking of the original Planet of the Apes films from the 70s and how, as novel as they are, how crappy a lot of the films were. But this, I really felt for Caesar. Like this whole thing, the whole idea of what the apes were going through, and at the same time what the humans were going through. Even if it's the cause of their own demise to some extent, you really feel for everybody's position on this and what they were going through. There's not truly a bad guy in these films, and it's just so well written, so well acted, and Andy Serkis just does a great job at Caesar, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Do you regret not seeing War in theaters?
I do. After watching War, I'll be honest, it was my favorite of the trilogy, and I really wish I did see that because
I want to say that one was in IMAX.
Really? Yeah.
Just so you know. Yeah.
It was the most impactful for me. It progressively got better each film, and War really just did a great job at topping off the trilogy.
I know you're wearing a t-shirt that says Bad Ape, not Bad Ape. Oh, damn. deep cut. Mikey, Marco, you guys chime in. What did you guys think? I think we all rewatched this right before, right?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Rewatched it with Zan. I agree with everything Nabil said. I think these movies are fantastic. That original trilogy is just not original, but sort of
reboot
trilogy is just so good as far as trilogies goes. And Nabil said, they get stronger and stronger as they progress. Andy Serkis' performance just gets better. He gets more comfortable in the role, and you really learn to grow with the character of Caesar and his journey of becoming a leader of the apes. And great casting overall in every movie. Even though you get a different set of humans in each movie, it works. And yeah, man, just fantastic movies.
Yeah, I agree with the guys are saying. These movies have been, as far as trilogies go, my most recommended trilogy or just set of movies, I should say. I feel like a lot of people have not seen these movies for some reason, at least people I talk to. And so it's
these movies made a fucking killing, Mikey. So I don't know who the fuck those people are.
I have some loser friends. Then I don't know, but I'm just in my friends group outside of the people that I'm doing the podcast in with. At least no one's really seen this movie, so I recommended it to a lot of people to watch. They are fantastic. I like Dawn more than War, so I like the second one a little better. But they're all fantastic, and Caesar's progression between the three of them are you can just watch him become a different person in every single time just by his life events, and it's good to watch.
Yeah, I watched these with my parents, actually. They'd never seen them. Because I think they've seen probably the original ones. Yeah, they're not my fucking friends, Mikey. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Dude, my mom has been to a theater in 30 fucking years. Literally. So, yeah. So, anyways, back to that. They enjoyed them a lot. They liked it a lot. They were shocked because my mom remembers the Planet of the Apes TV show that was going on back in the day. There was a TV show.
I remember that.
Oh yeah.
She was like, "Oh, it's really cheesy." But then after the first one, they were hooked. They were like, "There's more," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Let's watch the next one." I'm like, "These are long." So we did one a week kind of thing. So because if not, I mean, I think the first one is the shortest one. Then after they start clocking in over 2 hours each, and the last one,
they're 2 hours 20 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really fun rewatching. I hadn't watched War since it came out, so it was a nice rewatch. And I think I'm with Mikey. I slightly like Dawn a little more, but I do like how War changes a bit, and I totally forgot that they actually are traveling. It's like a revenge film almost. And there's a lot of good moments in all three films, though. There's some really good ones. So Let's talk about this release, though, guys. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes takes place 300 years later. Let's start with you then, Mikey. What did you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Did it work for you? Did it not work for you?
It worked for me. I feel like this movie is what you would expect it to be inside of this trilogy. It has a little bit of pickup time that it takes in the beginning, but once you get into the swing of things and kind of get the story going, it just picks up right where the other ones left off. Obviously, it's in a different time frame and different characters and such, but it has the same feel as the other ones, to me at least. You see the progression for the new leader, Noah, or not leader, but new character, I should say, new lead character. And you have a lot of fallout from the original trilogy, or the sequel trilogy, whatever you want to call it, from Rise, Dawn, and War. You have a lot of the fallout and a lot of the stuff that happened there. You're seeing some of the stuff that potentially could happen later on when all this stuff is coming through, like 300 years later, generations after generations have passed on stories and such, and you can kind of feel like different people took that same story and did something different with it. And you can really see themes of like power, some of religion even. So I think this movie was really well done overall in most aspects.
Nice. What about you, Nabil?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was as strong as the original rebooted trilogy, but I did enjoy a lot of the plot building over here, especially considering that they just moved forward 200, 300 years. And I agree with Mikey. I think it's the beginning that really took me out a little bit, and then once we started ramping up, especially when we do finally meet Proxima Caesar, that's when the film gets way more interesting to me, and it starts getting to the political intrigue and what Noah's dealing with his family, and all that aspect of it is what really got me feeling like, okay, I can see where they're going to go with this film now, and if they are going to build off another trilogy, I'm here for it. But that beginning part seemed a bit meh, so I was like, okay, this is just them introducing it. Maybe it gets better, and it does. It does get more entertaining as we continue on.
And just as a side note, they are planning 9 movies in this, so we're
9 movies.
4 in.
Jesus,
So they have 5 more after this. Yeah, I think they're going to do 3 trilogies, basically, which is tracking pretty well. So it looks like it's definitely going to happen. What about you, Marco?
I lean more on Nabil's side, where I liked it, but it fell kind of short of my expectations. I didn't really like it as much as Mikey did. I wholeheartedly agree that the beginning, like the first 20-30 minutes, is just very slow. It's kind of dragging. I get it. They have to establish the characters and you have to get to know them, but I feel like that could have been done a little better. There's also something that happens to Noah at the beginning, a loss of a family member, that I think is a trope that's been done way too many times. I don't think it really needed that for the plot to drive him to go on his journey. I think they could have done something a little bit more original, especially because this movie taking place 300 years later, we're dealing with, a more of a quote unquote original storyline, connected but different from the original trilogy. They introduce a lot of like different themes, like the different ape clans, like Mikey was saying, and Nabil. Some are, thinking of Caesar one way, others are thinking of Caesar another way. And I like that. So I felt it kind of like some of the motivations could have been a little bit, better for the main characters, but I get it. I do think that when we finally get to Proximus, it does, speed up a little bit and help you get more immersed in the movie. But even Proximus, I'll get to a little later, but even that sort of fell a little short for me as well. Again, I liked it, but I don't think it was great, especially considering like the 3 great movies that preceded it.
I really love this movie. This was great. I thought it was a good setup for things to come. I'm more with Mikey, obviously, on this one. I found the pacing really well. I didn't think it was slow at all in the beginning. I like that we get to know more about Noah. He's not a perfect character. He's got a lot of internal, things going on, and he doesn't think his father likes him, and the set, even with the family member dying in the beginning, I actually thought that was very touching. Yeah, it's been done, but I mean, so it is. A lot of movies have been done. Like we're going to find out probably in Furiosa something similar happens coming up, and I think there's a lot of things that are not answered in this film yet, which I kind of like. It's given us kind of like it's obviously the beginning of another trilogy. I feel like, unlike the other last trilogy, this one's probably going to stick to certain characters a little bit more closer this time around that are going to be continuing going forward. I thought the visuals were amazing in this movie. It's just gotten better and better. It's getting, quite frankly, kind of ridiculous how realistic the apes are looking now. And it's like, whoa. I thought the mocap it's insane how the technology from all the way from Rise to now it's getting creepy actually.
Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful film. It's
that
real.
monkey was
It
real.
looks legitimate. Yeah.
I was like, how'd they train these monkeys?
Talking
the
apes.
characters though, I like the characters. I will say this much too though, that I didn't think even the villain in this one is like, is he a villain? Right? In a way, yes.
Right.
But then it's like Nabil said, there's everyone in these movies always think they're doing the correct thing, right? For the most part.
And you can't fault them for it. Like from their
No.
perspective, you could look at it and say, I get where he's coming from with it.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's killing it by the way lately. So
Oh yeah.
and his Proximus Caesar, yes, he's the villain of the movie, but he's going off of what he thinks is best for the ape people and how to continue going forward. And I like
because he's enslaving his people too.
Yes,
Yeah,
true,
he's not perfect for sure.
No, true, but he thinks that's like, hey, we have to combine the clans to create a quote unquote kingdom, right? That's the title of the movie. But then also we get a flip on it, and then May is also a character that she's trying to do what's best for her people, and she doesn't think that apes and humans can live, and it was theirs first, and it's a lot of like they're all just surviving, right? I get it, and the character arc that Noah has, it's just starting too, which is it's just cool. So this might be a movie too where we come back to it like, holy fuck, they set up a lot of shit going up, and he didn't even know. I don't think he was aware who Caesar is, right? If I'm correct,
Most of the time
until he meets Raka,
right.
and Raka is the one that actually knows how to read, and he's like, no, these are like the real teachings, and I like that how it's been so much time that certain groups of apes grew up in that kind of like knowing what Caesar was all about. Some only know very little, so it's more of like a godlike figure to them, and they're taking it, like Marco said, like completely the wrong way, and they think they're doing the right thing too. But I like that. I liked how they showed that, like how different people, and then like we were even thinking like there's a ton of apes, right? So there's apes all over the world. So God only knows how they're running it around, right? How do they communicate? I don't know.
If you think about that, if you really want to think about the world, they probably don't even know anything about Caesar. They have their own situation,
that's what I'm thinking.
So it's a whole different thing.
They have a different Caesar. What if there was other apes that rose up, guys? Like an orangutan or something, like a sloth creature or something. I don't know. Something weird. But no, I really liked it. I enjoyed my time with this one. I think it's a really good continuation of the last three movies, and I know they're probably they have to be leading into, we'll talk more about it in spoilers, but they're leading into eventually the original film, right? And like, I'm getting that vibe.
Oh yeah.
They still haven't talked about the Artemis spaceship that just disappeared
in Rise, but
in Rise.
I want to say the original film is set in the year 3000, right? So
yeah,
2017 or something like
that. They got time, guys. They got time. Charlton Heston, they fucking AI his fucking self. Get off me, you damn dirty apes! I'd be like, oh my god. Let's talk about the characters then. What did you guys think about Noah?
I think I like his character arc. I do think that. I just think that it's a much slower burn for me. But I do like how, he starts off as just, a regular ape, just trying to impress his father. And
yeah, they're hinting that, like, is he related to Caesar somehow?
He has that scar on his chest.
He's got the birthmark.
The birthmark.
The birthmark, yeah.
I think they're going to reveal some of that. Just like, I kept thinking they were going to say something, but I was like, oh, they don't know what fucking Caesar looked like. That's why.
Yeah. And we don't know if these apes are like the same group that were with Caesar, or like Nabil was saying, there's apes in different locations. These could be a group that are, miles away and just heard the legend or the story of Caesar, or got whatever information was passed down. But still, they do clue in that this guy Noah, or this ape Noah, is a lot clever than most would seem. I mean, you see it at the beginning where he's like, not giving up, and he's gonna go get his eagle egg because they
very
are
brave, right?
Yeah, they're a falconry group, which I do think is pretty cool. But yeah, you see him learn, and I do like what James is saying, that he's a flawed character, like he's not perfect, and he's trying to figure he's just trying to get to his clan and his family, and he's trying to figure out the truth as well too. And I do like that about him, and I do like the fact that even as we get towards the end of the film, he's still making mistakes. He's still learning from them. So I do like that. He's an interesting character, and
his whole thing
maybe
is
he'll get more interesting.
I think so too. I think he's very trustworthy, right, to people, and then he learns from good and bad people that you can't trust everybody. I swear to God, I thought you were about to quote Jango Fett there, by the way. Where he's just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe.
I was tempted, dude.
I was like, what are you doing there, man?
Yeah, because let's face it, he's not even really like a full-grown ape, because the whole egg thing is a coming-of-age ceremony. So
yeah, I want to say he's probably like a teenager, 18, 19. I don't know. They're fucking apes. I don't know, guys. Like
the 18, 19 equivalent, right?
Equivalent, like around there. Man, I mean, we were gonna spoil it. Man, when he cracked that egg, I yelled out loud, and my guy's like, "Fuck!" I don't know. I was so fucking invested. I was like, I saw that yolk, and I was like, "Well, fucking eat it at least now." God damn.
I thought he was gonna lick his fingers. I legit thought he was gonna lick his fingers.
Like, God damn it! He's like, I'll have him in me forever. I'll have him in me forever.
It's like, do they know what scrambled eggs are?
Yeah, I kept thinking, I was like, they haven't cooked a single thing in this thing yet. So I don't know what's going on.
They just eat fish. The fuck?
What about, I mean, chime in, guys. Anybody, like, what about May? What about Proximus? Everything. Just what characters stood out to you guys?
I will say Proximus. I thought he was very charismatic. I think that Kevin Durant did a great job with his portrayal of him. The idea of an ape trying to build this kingdom, yes, in the worst possible way, but also is wanting to educate himself and learn about the history, and also wants to find ways to rule like man did and protect his kind. It's an interesting premise for somebody who's going in to try to rule this land, where everybody's separated by clans right now, and trying to bring them together.
I have a question because he's learning about Roman history mostly, right? Because William H. Macy's character, by the way, I had no idea he was in this fucking movie. I don't know if he showed him in the trailer. I was like, what? I even told Mikey at one point, is that William fucking H. Macy? But he's telling him like all he wants to hear about is Rome. He's basing everything on Roman politics and the way. That's why I think Marco, is that why he has slaves? Because they had slaves too. And
there's that, and also his motives. Although I understand where Nabil's coming from, that he says he wants to lead apes and let them be stronger and stuff. But is he going to share this knowledge with them?
No, I think he wants to be. He wants to be the prime ape.
Like, so yeah, on one hand, of course apes should unite and be strong and everything like that, but the means he's using to get there, I think, are just like, hey, dude.
He wants to be an emperor. He's definitely the villain. I agree with it is an interesting premise. I'm not gonna, I'm like, what am I saying? Like, I'm in the fucking, I'm not siding with them, guys, for fuck's sake. Right. But, dude, I gotta say, creepiest fucking face, though. Every time he just had those little wide eyes. And I was like, what is this Bonnaboo doing there? Get out of here, you crazy bastard. So,
honestly, though, like, is he really just researching Roman because of Caesar? Because that's the same name?
Maybe because it clicked with it, and then I don't know. Once again, it's
learn more about Caesar.
They never fully dive into it. It's more of you just to kind of like, oh, that's why he was doing this, probably. But yeah, I don't.
It could be as simple as that he took the name Proximus Caesar because of the meaning of who Caesar is to the apes, and then William H. Macy said,
true. And
the emperor,
and he does say, he's like, I am your Caesar now, and all this stuff, and he's trying to. But once again, it's also because he thinks that's how Caesar probably was, because he doesn't actually know the real Caesar. As us as the viewers, we know how Caesar actually was, and it's like, dude, Caesar would have whooped this dude's ass, like, or showing him up, because Caesar actually cared, and although Caesar was strong at times when he needed to be, he's also like was looking out for the the benefit of everyone. He would never have had slaves doing stuff and all this.
No, they would never put anybody at risk in that same way.
Yeah.
Caesar
thought
also had a
James-
soft spot for humans, where none of these apes have a soft spot for humans. So
Yep.
it kind of makes a little different dynamic.
The echoes, as they call them in this movie.
All right.
I thought James was going to say, and he also says, "What a wonderful day."
That was a
All
fun
right.
line.
He's got some good lines, man. It's funny. Someone did a meme of him saying that, and all the apes are just like bowing to him, like all because James Franco wanted to cure Alzheimer.
Oh man,
It's true. It's James Franco's fault, man.
May was an interesting character. That definitely went in a direction that I did not think it was going to go.
Interesting premise. I want to see where that goes for the other films. So I'm glad that they had that, to be honest, because
It left with me with more questions. I was like,
Right.
I need to know more.
that was a good thing.
she's surprisingly one of my favorite characters in the movie.
She was
Yeah, no, she was cool. She was a really good character in herself. It was just we'll discuss it more
say
in
more
spoilers.
spoilers.
I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to jump too
It's
much
really
into it
hard
because
to
I think
talk
that's
about
more of the.
without doing something, right? Without saying something that's not supposed to be said.
Yeah, I would say so too. We'll kind of hold her off until later. And I think we've already talked about the visual effects and how they look good. I think the movie's filmed very well. So that's something that we can touch bases on if you guys have anything else to say about it. But I don't think there's too much about it. But did the jump for 300 years work for you guys? Did you like how it takes us fully aware? Or did you guys want something more where we do get a small scene in the beginning showing the funeral of Caesar. Spoiler alert if you've never seen them. Sorry, but came out quite a few years ago. Luckily, Nabil caught up on that. He would have been like, "What's going on? What happened?
What happened?
Wait, what happened? Why is Marie still here?" Right? And it was definitely one of those things where I actually like that they show that. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And they show kind of, there's still those little things like Caesar's window is his symbol still, and people clutch onto that as a symbol of Caesar. I thought that was a cool little connection. But did it work for you guys? The 300-year jump?
Yeah, I think it taking 300 years later is one of the things I like the most
I think it's
about this
smart.
movie too. Yeah.
I think it's really smart.
It lets the movie be what it wants to be. It doesn't matter what direction they want to take the film. Being that far away allows them to do whatever they want to do and still keep the same world, still keep Caesar and everything he taught. So it really worked out for me. I liked it a lot, actually.
It builds on. It gives us room to build on the allegory of like Caesar being like a Jesus figure, right? Like a deity almost, because there's so many people that don't know. So you can have those rough interpretations of what happened before and see where that kind of goes as far as the storyline is concerned. So I think that helps it a lot.
I think biblically speaking, I would see Caesar more as like a Moses figure, kind of guiding his people to the promised land. And Noah, quite frankly, is literally looks like he might be Noah, like the biblical figure. I think that's why they named him Noah. So I like how if his name is playing on it, I kind of have a feeling where it might go in the next few things, and I like that. So
Because there's
Didn't
something
think of
that
that.
happens with water.
yeah, a great flood is coming. So did you guys like the overall themes of the movie then? Like we've touched on it too, and anything else you guys want to bring up about that?
I was just going to add one thing in that I didn't really feel worked well was the relationship with Noah and Raka. Like I like Raka and I like Noah, but I think Raka what happens to him, I feel like happens too soon, and we didn't get a lot of time with him. And also his teachings to Noah.
I have a theory on that, by the way, Nabil.
Yeah, and then the teachings that he's giving Noah in regards to Caesar, like there's just not a lot of time for Noah to really sit with this and question it and build a personality off any of this. Like nothing like that really happens. So though he's educating him a bit and Noah's curious, I feel like there wasn't enough development there of what I know you guys are saying like, oh, I think there's growth. I feel like he didn't earn a lot of the questioning because it was all happening in like a day or two. Like he's still learning this stuff.
I think it happens to him because through the events of the film, though, Raka is just one of those. He's almost on a hero's journey, not quite, but it's Raka's one of the guys he just meets along the way, and truthfully, I don't know. I'll talk about it in spoilers. There's certain things with Raka where he does leave him off, and it's kind of like, I mean, these motherfuckers can't read. So I mean, all right, cool, I guess. So, I guess he'll keep the Jedi books for now. So. But I think it's through like the actions of where then Noah, he's on this journey, is somebody dies. He goes on a journey to free his people. He gets there. He finds out that there are other apes that have a very different opinion on life compared to him. He thinks he can trust certain people, then he finds he can't. He distrusts, but then he learns that he needs to step up because his clan needs a leader. And I think the scene with him getting the eagle is a powerful scene, and it shows you that he's finally he realizes what his father was trying to tell him the whole time of that. Like, and then he realized, like, yeah, his dad didn't hate him. It's just his dad was pushing him hard to be the person that he saw him to be. And truthfully, I kind of teared up when his dad died. I ain't gonna lie. So I was like, oh, that's sad. It was just not because of the action, Marco, because I know, it's cliched, but I thought just the look of it, and that how his dad technically was fighting off to try to save like their whole thing is those eagles, right? And he was like, we got to save them because like no one else can save them, and they're blinded, and you got to free them all. And he dies doing that to try to, because technically he's thinking already a few ahead. He's like, got to help the clan. Like somehow we're gonna get out of this, and we're gonna need these guys. And it's just crazy. And that fucking gorilla, I was like, fuck. So,
I agree. I do agree with that. It's sad that Noah, never really got to impress his father while he was alive. He wanted to do that, and he was robbed of that opportunity. And I felt that was kind of sad. Like it's like, fuck, dude, like he never really got to see.
It's well acted too. I'll say that much. It's very well acted. The scene, it's just like, oh fuck, dude.
Yeah, so. I mean, wish they would have done something else, but the way it was done, it works, and it still tugs on the heartstrings. But
for me, I don't know. I was like, why are these apes making Jimmy get teary-eyed again for the second time in a week?
Some of the other things, real quick, that we talked about is just like the whole image of Caesar and his legacy and how like apes view him. It kind of because he led the apes to freedom. He led the revolution and gave them
in
the
America,
freedom.
at least. I will mention that.
Yeah, true. And it comes to show we don't really know like who Caesar left in charge, like in the absence of his death. I mean, we have some that we could guess, obviously, but I mean, then after that,
you think it was Rocket?
I think it was Rocket for sure.
I think it was Rocket, dude. Once again, I kept bringing it up to my parents, like this was the guy that was an asshole to him the whole fucking time in Rise, and now this is like his homeboy, like
his homie, dude, his ride or die.
Like, dude, he's like, yeah, exactly. Like he's like, he ain't gonna let them bitch him out, okay? Right? But like 300 years later, like you see how that message, how that can get skewed, and you end up having all these different clans with different interpretations and stuff like that. It's a very, very interesting and like eye opening. It shows like how like some bad and good traditions are formed and stuff because of that, because of misinterpretation and shit like that. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I like that. Nice. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think, by the way, just connection, I think we already kind of talked. I think it connects pretty well to the previous one. I don't know if it's quite, I bet you could watch this without watching those, but I don't think it would hit as well, because you'd be like, you too would be guessing who the fuck is Caesar? You're like, who was Caesar?
Yeah, I feel like you have to know Caesar. I mean, you don't really have to, but it would help a lot to know Caesar, his story, and everything he went through, and just to kind of see what these people or these clans are kind of following and how they kind of understood it, because you can kind of see the different clans are taking his teachings different ways, and it was nice to have like a background of how you think it's going to be based on what you saw.
Yeah, no, I agree. Plus the window symbol, you would never know.
Yeah, that'd mean nothing to you.
That was Caesar's that was home to him. So yeah, let's get into the star rating for this, recommendations, and then we'll jump into our spoilers, because there are a few things to spoilers. So I would say, let's get the ratings first, and then we're getting to spoilers. Nabil, what would you rate Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
I gave this a 3.5 stars out of 5.
Nice. Mikey, what about you?
I give it 4 stars. Definitely recommend.
Nice. Marco, what about you?
I also give it a 3.5 stars. I think it was good, and I would still recommend watching it, even though I had my little issues with it.
Yeah, I would give this one 4 stars. Like Mikey, we had a little hopscotch there. I thought it was really good. If you like the previous ones, I would highly recommend checking it out. Watch it in theaters. Jesus. All right, let's get into our spoiler section. If you don't want this to be ruined, I would highly recommend, if you're thinking about watching this, do not listen to the spoiler section, because we're gonna ruin some stuff here for you. So away we go. So guys, May, she can actually fully speak English.
Wild.
Did
I
not,
was like,
okay,
what?
I'm going to right off the bat. When she said Noah at first, I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, okay. She said, but then I was like, she said that way too easily. But it turns out, although they want us to think that the dirty people in the water are like what all humans are, that's not the case for the most part. There still are outskirts of people, and May is possibly even lying about her background. I don't know if she's fully telling the truth about, like, oh, I lost all my family. Maybe she did, but she obviously was on the hunt for this. I want to say it's a satellite disc. I don't know what the fuck it is, but
like a cipher key.
Yeah.
because they're trying to reestablish communication with other places. It was cool that like May is not what she seems. She might not even be a person that is trustworthy. She's somewhat using Noah and the crew to get into the vault, I guess you might call it. But in a way, I get it. I can't even fault her because she's trying. I mean, technically, we're human, so we should be on her side, right? Technically. And she's trying to find a way. Like, she thinks, like, first, like, she says it could be the cure to this all, but I think she's like, it's the first step into getting communication with other people so they can start reestablishing what's going on and try to figure something out from the sound of it. What did you guys think about May overall?
Well, I feel like this movie, as well as like the trilogy, everything hinges on communication, right? I mean, like the first time Caesar spoke was like a huge scene in the first one. The second movie, they're trying to get communications, right? They're trying to get their power up so they can do communications, everything like that. So that all these movies have something to do with communication, and then she is like the communication on this, and in more than one way. Not only can she fully speak, but she is also getting the key to them to speak to long range people away. So it was like kind of a pivotal point. Not only was she like a secret agent, and you really don't know if you can trust her or anything she's saying, what is true, what is not, kind of thing. She's doing what she needs to get communication for her people. And I mean, you can't really fault her for that, but you still don't know what they're going to do with it, which is kind of nice, like you guys were saying before. So, but it just really hinges on communication. I think that's a big point, and May is kind of the driving force of that in this movie.
You would have thought she would have grabbed the jacket, though, if she knew she was doing all this.
Yeah. I agree with what Mike said, and I think for me, like the big scene, like kind of like there's always a big scene where an ape talks or a human talks. I think the big one for me is when they actually like link up the satellite and they hear someone else on the other side like actually respond. Like that was the scene for me. Like that was the quote unquote talking scene for the movie. But I like how she subverts that human character where you expect her to be this like missing link or something between the feral humans and ones that could potentially talk. No, she's just a potential spy. She's like playing them the whole freaking time, and I really like that, which is why like she's one of my favorite characters. You don't really know her intentions. She's saying one thing but displaying another. Like she says like, yeah, I'm gonna help you, and then ends up destroying the whole fucking ape complex, quote unquote kingdom.
Did she do that just because it was like she got what she needed to get out of there? That was what I was under. And
I don't think so.
She was like trying to take him out. She was like, fuck yeah.
I think she was, I think that she had really no choice. She didn't want Proxima Caesar to get the weapons because she knew what would happen there. And even though it wasn't the deal between her and Noah, there was just no other way out for her. So she just had to do it. Like that was it.
She was trying to kill Noah's tribe, for instance. This is how I was reading it.
But she
like,
also wouldn't.
Unfortunately, they were in the way, and like, hey, I get it. Because she shows up back at the end again, but she doesn't know if she can trust Noah again. That's why she has a gun behind her back.
Yeah, she knows she kind of burned the trust, but she, at the same time, I think she had good intention. Like she intended to keep her word throughout the whole thing, but it's the circumstance that happened. They were waiting at the door, and this is the only way.
And just slinging right there at the door.
At the same time, she didn't want the apes to have any advantage over the humans at all, like at any cost. And she wasn't afraid to hide that she didn't care about humans and apes living together peacefully. Like she was okay with humans totally being dominant. Again, I like that too. It's totally different than the human you expect to be like, oh no, let's live together and stuff. Like she was like, nah, she's like us. She said it's our world. Yeah, she said it was our world first, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, killer Noah. I was like, oh my god, I'm on the ape side. I'm fucking Trevathan. Oh my god.
But I would say really like my favorite scene with her is probably when he's talking to her and really asking her, do you think that we could possibly coexist? And then the camera zooms back and you see the gun behind her back. And I was like, oh shit.
I guessed.
She was ready to kill. She was like, she's gonna kill the dude.
I was like, oh, this bitch. I was like, eagle attack. So it was cool though. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But once again, this is what I'm saying. I think she's going to be in the next one because all the other ones, different human every movie, right? We get different human. First one's James Franco. Second one's that one dude that's in everything. Then the third movie is the little girl, probably, right?
Woody Harrelson.
Nova.
Woody Harrelson's the bad guy, but yeah, Nova, which we all call her Nova. I was like, Rocka, you crazy? Why are you wearing clothes? But I think they're going to keep her around because I don't know. She must have the disease in her, right? So that's why she's not allowed into the facility where they're all.
I think that. Well, I was thinking this because she's in the outside world that she's been
like,
exposed. Yeah, they don't want to risk getting anybody else sick because of that. Because you saw
that
in
300 years though, and people were like, "You got to live in here forever." Sorry, buddy. I'm like, I don't know. This is turning into Fallout now. What's going on?
They don't have a cure still, and they don't know like who could potentially be like.
Dude, no offense to them, but I think that time for a cure passed a long time ago for that shit. But we'll see.
True.
It's been 300. Remember from the time of when Caesar asked James Franco for a $20 bill just to hold it till Tuesday to now. I don't know. Because once again, it is leading into eventually. I have a feeling like it is. I think it's leading into the original movie where if you guys have seen the original one, like the apes win. So something's going to drastically happen in the next few movies where something's going to go down, and I can't wait to see it, to tell you the truth. So, did you guys like how Noah went? I like that last sequence, by the way, where he's going through the water. That was dope. I really like that part.
That was
he
good.
trapped that goddamn fucking gorilla finally. For a second, I was like, is he going to help him?
He thought about
I
it.
thought he might.
No, then he pulled a Batman. He's like, I don't have to help you. Then he left, and I was like, what? He pulled a Batman Begins on him? So, that was cool. I was like, damn, he's small enough.
It's like, sorry, but you killed my father.
Yeah, fuck him. I was like, fuck him, dude. You should take another swipe. And I was like, gorilla too big for small hole. Even the gorilla was like, shit, he got me.
Whole thing I was thinking of James doing the Amy Love.
Amy Love from Congo. Once again. That's one of my... God, we got to do a review of Congo with you guys. Damn. Maybe that'd be a secret fucking... James chose Congo. What? Wait, by the way, Marco's never seen Congo.
Wait, really?
I've never seen it.
Interesting film.
We should do it.
Freaked me out as a kid.
Any other spoilers you guys want to go with here, or talk about where you think it's going to go for the next 5 movies?
Just like the very end when they're looking into the telescope, it does look like they're looking at something, and they're also the camera kind of zooms into an astronaut. And I'm like, are they looking at the Icarus? Is that what they're hinting at? So kind of, that's what I thought.
It's not yet. I think they're showing that Noah, like you guys talked about, Noah's different from anyone. He's very curious. He fixes that stripper pole thing. What was it? Like the electro staff. Electro staff from Star Wars.
Yeah, he does fix it.
He fixes it, and then he actually I feel like that ending is showing that Noah's. Now he doesn't really trust the humans. Now he's on that part where we have to protect our own. But then he's also looking through the telescope, and he brings his side boo. And they look through it, and they just think like, oh, he's like expanding now. He wants to learn too now. And I think they're going to jump into that.
He's the opposite of Proximus, where he wants to share this knowledge with his clan rather than just keep it for himself. Yeah.
And by the way, I thought Rocka didn't die, by the way.
Oh, actually, I was going to talk about that. Is apparently after the credits, there's a
breathing
audio
of
piece.
an ape.
Yeah,
I heard,
Rocka, and I heard Rocka. Yeah,
it's an orangutan.
So that's why, Nabil, I was going to tell you. I think he's going to pop up and be like, "I'll teach you how to read English."
I did think that scene was interesting, where they had the fight with her and William H. Macy's character, Trevor.
The fight? What do you mean? The snuff out, bro?
Yeah, I mean, really, like,
basically,
him to turn, not willing to turn. he kind of turned code against the mankind.
He tried to
and was like,
snitch.
nah, you know.
Well, no, because he was trying to be like, dude, there is no way to go back to the world. And then she was like, yes, there is. And then she golemed his ass and climbed on his back. And just, I was like, whoa.
Well, it reminds me of like it because there's a lot of like callbacks to the original trilogy, right? So like the apes that went with man in Caesar's trilogy,
The donkeys.
the donkeys, exactly. And now you have humans
doing the same thing.
Yeah. So I thought that was
He's a
like an
donkey.
interesting callback.
Because truthfully, when you see her go in that room, you expect that's Proximus' room, right? At first.
Yeah. Right.
You're probably like, oh, damn, he lives like a human. And then a little human comes out, and it happens to be William H. Macy. I'm like, oh,
That's random.
like weird, actually. Now, kind of strange. Actually, this is strange.
It's his
Yeah, that was a
pet.
good. Basically, who can read and teach him stuff, and he's trying to teach her like. It's like some hookers with a pin. Like, you got to treat daddy right so he don't hurt you. Come on. What are you doing here? You need to read to him so he gives you some food and some nicer clothes.
I read him the bedtime stories.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's the end of the podcast. We appreciate you all tuning in. Marco, let everyone know how they can stay connected with us.
Of course, you can listen and follow us on your preferred podcast platform. We are everywhere. For a convenient link to all our social media channels, visit linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And remember, hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss an episode in this world or the next.
Plus, catch us on TikTok for sneak peeks of upcoming episodes and more exciting movie content. Follow us at Movie Pals Pod.
And tune in to our next episode, podcast episode number 175, where we will be jumping back into the world of Francis Ford Coppola with a review of a new remastered version of One from the Heart, followed by a review of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Thank you, Bill. Until next time, this is James.
Marco?
Nabil.
And Mikey.
Have a great one.